Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is BNHA 2nd Gen, Chapter 6, and this one is titled Arrow vs. Explosion. Thanks, Kiki, Ginny wailed happily, hugging her friend. Chi's scowl deepened with jealousy, and he turned and walked off, while Soshi decided to join in on the hugging if he was allowed. I think he did amazing, he said softly as he approached Ginny and went to place a hand on her head, but then remembered that she didn't like her hair being touched and stopped immediately. Nice save, Kiru said bluntly to him before pulling Ginny away from him. Thanks, Soshi, Ginny said as she straightened and let go of Kiru. We should watch the other fights now. Enough about me. Good idea, Kiru said. Come sit with me in the stands. I can't because I'm a competitor, Ginny replied, but I'll come up after today's finished, okay? Okay, Kiru said as she stepped back and flicked her fingertips off her forehead quickly in a short salute, turning her attention to Soshi. I'm watching you, Icy. You ain't slick, she said, noticing how Soshi sidled up to Ginny the minute that she had stepped away. I don't know what you're on about, Soshi replied innocently as he took Jinsei's hand in his. Let's go, Ginny. Okay, Ginny said as she followed him off. I'll see you later, Kiki. Thank you again. Nah, she said with a shrug. Don't sweat it. Ginny smiled softly, her nose and cheeks still a little red from crying. So when's Chi up next? Where did he go? Ginny asked Soshi as he led her back to the viewing room. Dunno, just walked off, Soshi said with a disinterested shrug. Unfortunately for Soshi, Chi had walked off to the viewing room and was watching the next battle when Soshi and Ginny entered. Oh, Chi, there you are! We were wondering what happened. She stopped, noticing a look of pure dread on Chi's face as he stared at the screen. What is it? She asked as she let go of Soshi's hand and walked over to him. I think I know who my next opponent is, Chi said numbly. Who? Ginny asked as she looked at the screen, her eyes falling on a particularly large boy with blue skin, his arm morphed into a shape of a bow. Oh no, is it him? She asked, pointing to the guy as he held his hand up in triumph. Yep, you just won that round, Chi replied in a dead tone. Oh, Ginny said softly. You gonna do laps, are you, Chi? Soshi quipped. Shut up, man, as if you could beat this guy. Chi snapped at his white-haired, friendly antagonist, gesturing to the TV. I can't, Soshi said with a smug look on his face. That's why I'm in here, and you're going out there. Chi looked back at the screen as doubt filled his mind, clearly showing on his face. He knew he couldn't beat the archer should he come up against him, which seemed a very real possibility at that point. Chisuki Bakugou, the announcer called. Please come to the waiting room in preparation for your duel, please. Chi nodded and put his head down, his spiky blonde fringe falling over one eye, covering it from Ginny's view. You can do it, Chi, she whispered encouragingly as he passed her to the door. Do it for me. He grunted as he headed out the door, and Ginny sighed. He doesn't seem very confident, she thought. Well, even if he does lose, I know the feeling, so I can comfort him. Soshi stepped up beside the brown-haired girl and gestured to the chairs ahead. You want to sit, Jin? He asked softly. Yeah, thanks so, she replied, giving him a soft, warm smile before heading to the chairs and sitting down. The archer contestant won his next battle easily and readied himself for the following opponent, beating him just as easily as the first before leaving the stage and getting ready to take on the next challenger, which was Chisuki. Do you think he'll win? Ginny asked Soshi as they sat together, the white-haired boy leaning forward with his well-defined forearms resting on his thighs. Not sure, Soshi replied. It'd be hard for Chi to go up against arrows. Arrows and explosions don't really work well in combat against one another, but Chi's cunning, so he'll work something out. Ginny nodded and settled back, her stomach twisting in nervous anticipation as she waited for Chi and his opponent to face off. Just then the starting bell sounded, and Chi walked casually out into the waiting area, heading for the stage as his opponent walked up as well, both hands looking very normal. Wait, where'd the bow and arrows go? Does he create them? Ginny asked Soshi. I think so. I think his arm morphs into a bow, and the arrows come from his back. Just then the archer raised his hand and activated his quirk, his arm instantly becoming a recurved bow. Wow, Ginny breathed. It's pretty cool. Soshi nodded. Chisuki adjusted his stance to one of defense, and the opponent pulled an arrow from his back and then set it in the string and pulled it back, readying himself for the fight as he aimed at Chi. This feels really unfair, Ginny commented. He's legit got a bow and arrow. That's a sports festival for you, Soshi replied. Never know what you're going to get. The bell sounded and the archer released his hold on the arrow, narrowly missing Chi, who ducked quickly and jumped to the side. "It's a quick move from Bakugou to avoid being nailed," the announcer called. "He could die," Ginny grunted with dissatisfaction. "This isn't fair." The archer grabbed another arrow and shot again, making Chi jump yet again to avoid being hit. "Does he even run out of arrows eventually?" Ginny asked. Soshi hummed in an unsure tone. "We'll have to see." Arrow after arrow flew at Chi, who was dodging them narrowly, using minimal movement as much as possible. "It seems as though Bakugou is trying to save as much of his energy as possible," the announcer cried. "Is this a battle of stamina?" "If that guy runs out of arrows, then Chi can just run up and knock him out, or explode him out of the ring," Ginny said. "Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to do," Soshi mused, watching as Chi jumped again. "He's just got to be careful not to get too hot, or he might just combust on his own." 15 arrows had been shot by this point, and the archer was starting to look a little fatigued as he pushed another arrow from his back and set it up. He took a few steadying breaths, then let it fly, sending it just off centre of Chi and managing to get him in the leg as the explosive boy jumped and inadvertently moved into its path. "Bakugou's been hit!" the announcer screamed into the microphone. We'll know what's going to happen to Chi. Stay tuned for Chapter 7 coming tomorrow.